What's up, Patriots? Hope you guys are doing well. This is CJ here, and today we are talking fires and liars. And you can see the haze in the background. Still a fairly nice looking day, but we got some fires going on here. And I remember actually just about 1 year ago, we had the fires that were happening during the George Floyd riots. And a matter of fact, during those riots, we had people in this area who were members of Antifa who were setting fires locally here. I remember up the street here, my house, there was a fire set in the local green space. Fire engines came barreling up the street, put out the fire. Within 12 hours, there was another fire set in the Greystone area. And that fire actually threatened a number of very high-end homes, very nice green space area. And they actually caught the people, the perpetrators who set that fire. And those perpetrators, it indeed turned out, as I asked a friend of mine who was a local police officer, that they were members of Antifa. And so I remember making that note on a next door post and people just scoffing at it, going, oh, they wouldn't do that. Antifa's not around, you have no proof. Well, there were pictures of them, all right, and the law enforcement officer confirmed what it looked like. And anyway, so we've got fires going on now. Got a lot of haze in the background. It's been going on off and on the last 5 years. Matter of fact, every year now, there's been a series of fires. This year, doesn't look like it's arson related. It looks like it's related to the overgrowth of trees, bushes, etc., which has been something that the left-leaning governors have allowed to take place because they don't want to cut anything down. I mean, these guys are super tree huggers. And as a result, they let trees overgrow, brush overgrow, etc. They ban cutting down anything. I remember an arborist telling me you can't cut down a tree in a condominium complex, things like that, without planting 5 more trees. Don't even try it, whether you're allergic to it or not. They just became fanatics about botanicals and about the environment, etc., to the point where now it's putting us at risk with these fires that have turned into huge blazes because of the excessive kindling wood of the dry brush, the dry grass, and the dry and dead overgrowth of trees. So this is what we got, fires, and now we're going to talk about liars. So Sleepy Joe Biden has been reeling some of the pressure now that even the left-wing press is giving him regarding the debacle in Afghanistan. And matter of fact, Sleepy Joe was asked, what did you think about those numbers of Afghani citizens grabbing onto the C-130 transport plane as it was taking off from Bagram Air Base? And Sleepy Joe responded in a very short manner and said, that was 5 days ago. That was 5 days ago. I mean, 4 or 5, whatever it was. Matter of fact, it was actually 2 days ago. And he didn't like being asked about something like that. Let's take a look and see what Sleepy Joe said.
But we've all seen the pictures. We've seen those hundreds of people packed into a C-17. We've seen Afghans falling.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
What did you think when you first saw those pictures?
What I thought was we have to gain control of this. We have to move this more quickly. We have to move in a way in which we can take control of that airport. And we did.
So you don't think this could have been handled, this actually could have been handled better in any way? No mistakes?
No, I don't think it could have been handled in a way that we're going to go back in hindsight and look, but the idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that happened.
So for you, that was always priced into the decision?
Yes.
Now imagine if President Trump was asked about something, he said, that was 5 days ago, that was 2 days ago, that was 5 weeks ago, how about that was 5 years ago? They would throw him under the bus, they would tag it to him, there would be specials covering this day after day, they wouldn't tolerate it. But Sleepy Joe thinks he can get away with saying, oh, that was 5 days ago, people falling off of a plane, clinging to it, children as well, don't matter, because it was 5 days ago. Actually 2, but 5 he said. The other issue that is very concerning is the issue of U.S. military weapons in the hands of the Afghani army now being confiscated by the Taliban, okay? This is a huge concern. And let's take a look and see what one of the United States generals has to say about it.
Well, there have been some reports of Afghan pilots flying their aircraft into other countries. Is that happening, and is the U.S. taking any other sort of steps to prevent aircraft or other military equipment from falling into the hands of the Taliban?
I don't have information on the question, but we'll get back to them.
So there's no U.S. actions being taken to prevent equipment from falling into the hands of the Taliban by destroying it or anything else?
I don't have that answer to that question.
You don't have the answer.
Now think about this. We don't know, according to the general, if these U.S. weapons are going to get into the hands of the Taliban. This is extremely concerning, okay? We have some very advanced weaponry, whether it be something that you use such as a firearm or a mortar or a cannon or a missile launcher or what have you, maybe tanks, okay? Who knows? Maybe they've even gotten access to some of our warplanes. It sounds like they have. I've read of stories of some of the Afghani soldiers flying U.S. planes off to other countries. And from what I'm reading, the communist Chinese as well as Russia are licking their chops at getting back into Afghanistan to try to see the air base that we built, to try to see the military grade equipment that we left behind, and to try to get their hands on that equipment because they want to close the gap, the difference between us and them militarily speaking. This is a huge mistake. And if you look at that image again of those kids and those people hanging from that C-130 plane and falling, this image is going to be pinned to Sleepy Joe and his administration, and it's going to be haunting them for years because of the ineptitude and the incompetence and the impotence shown by the Sleepy Joe Biden administration. Now think back here how these liberal appeasers have handled U.S. military assets in the past. Think about it. After the Cold War, okay, we had President Reagan who had defeated, okay, the Soviet Union, and the Soviet Union broke up. We defeated them militarily and economically, and based on our emphasis of a strong, unified, patriotic front. Our people backed our country left and right all the way through. It was a very strong, cohesive effort led by President Reagan. However, after the Cold War was over, okay, a president or two later, President Bill Clinton came into office, the slick Willie talker that he was, and he went on to say, well, there must not be any more wars. We're going to open up our borders, and we're going to allow for a number of international students to come through, and we're going to lower the level of scrutiny and let those students come through. And as a result, we had students from the Middle East, from Saudi Arabia, okay, from Pakistan, etc. come through. And what happened later? Two things. One, 9/11 happened a few months into George Bush's presidency, and that happened because of our porous border, that is from an air travel standpoint, and also our policies trying to bring in international students without an emphasis of scrutinizing where they were coming from, whether or not they were radicalized or not. This happened during the Slick Willie administration's, 8 years of it. 8 years of putting our guard down and saying, there's no more wars, there's no more risk in the world, we don't have to worry about anything. But look at this, what else did Slick Willie do? He said, well, we're not going to use NASA to launch our satellites anymore. We're going to outsource it to China because there's no more wars, right? There's no more risk of wars, communism, oh, that's a thing of the past, okay? So he goes on and allows us to basically outsource the launching of our satellites to China. And he says, I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys some ballistic missile technology. Well, I mean, might as well help you guys out. No more worry about wars and so forth. So we share that technology with them. Not thinking, of course, that that same technology can also be used not only to launch satellites, but also intercontinental ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads on them. As a result, China was playing chess. Slick Willie was playing checkers, okay? And the gap between us and them narrowed very, very, very small, okay? It got much closer because we shared that technology without the foresight of seeing that evil, okay, totalitarianism repeats itself and rears its ugly head. So often the appeasers underestimate the risk of evil and its ability to reemerge in the world. I mentioned it the other day. We had Neville Chamberlain, okay? We had Lyndon B. Johnson. We had Jimmy the Peanut Farmer Carter, okay? We had Mr. Obama. We had Slick Willie. And of course, now we've got Sleepy Joe Biden, okay? Underestimating the risk and the threat of totalitarianism, terrorism, okay, and evil to rear its ugly head again in the world. And as a result, we're gonna have to work our butts off for years to narrow or to spread that gap again. Crazy times, guys. Keep pressing on, Patriots. It'll be interesting to see what goes on next in this ongoing saga in the United States of America. Take care, guys. See you next time.